go from leading order to next to leading order to next to next to leading order. And because I wanted to include the next to next to leading order, then I had to make use of kind of a very simple process. So leading order, again, we're varying 6 scale. And you can see that even in this low order process, as I vary it up and down, there's a very significant change. I go to next to leading order, please focus on the solid lines, ignore the dotted and dashed curves. That dependence is significantly reduced. And when I go to next to leading order, then at least on the scale of this particular graph, there's almost no sensitivity. There is still a little bit of sensitivity, but we're really getting close to the sort of idealized picture that we should have just a flat line. Clearly, when we go to Z+3 jets, that, of course, at next to leading order is something that was by now done a couple years ago. Next to leading order, I'd say that's still 3 to 4 years away. When eventually that's done, it won't be quite as flat as that, but we'll be getting much closer. So that's the kind of picture you should have in mind. So let's go back to let's go back to these different contributions. So at when we're going beyond leading order for a two-jet process, the kind of simple process we're looking at, we have the virtual corrections, where we interfere the basic three-level process with the one-loop corrections. So this is a typical diagram here. If you're thinking in terms of Feynman diagram, might be this channel. And of course, for the one-loop, we would now address that with an additional gluon to get a loop. And we also have the wheel emission corrections. And we sort of qualitatively understand that those can arise because we can have additional radiation inside the jet cone. We can have, let's say, our leading quark and some additional gluon radiated on, and that will eventually, when we sum over all possible ways of that further fragmenting and hadronizing, will give rise to the large number of hadrons we would find inside a jet. But it's more than just sort of a nicety. It's actually something that's essential for us to do. And to understand that, we have to recognize the following aspects, that we have some cuts on the jets and we have cuts on other aspects of phase space, and so when we integrate this contribution, let's say for any specific value of our observable, we just get some number, a finite number. If we were to do the same thing for this contribution alone, we would get infinity. Actually, we probably typically get minus infinity, but I'm not sure that distinction is very useful. And if we were to do the same thing over here, we would get plus infinity. And by now, of course, you've all gone through enough quantum field theory courses to know that by adding plus infinity and minus infinity, you can actually get a meaningful number out. But that meaningful number demands a certain amount of delicate attention. And so where these infinities come from, well, there's a loop integration. And if we were simply to go ahead and do that loop integral in 4 dimensions, we would get a divergent action. And here, the divergence is a little bit more subtle conceptually. It comes from the phase space. So let's take a look at a very simple case. So let's imagine that we're back at left. And we're looking not at the very simplest process, which would be 60 bar, and which has a perfectly finite total cross-section, encapsulates finite differential angular cross-section. But let's add in an additional gluon. The first discovery of jet, discovery of radiation by now. And let's let down the matrix element, drop some variety of factors which are extraneous, uniform notation, calling it n squared. Saying that this thing is proportional, there's factor of s, and there's other factors which I don't care about right now. And it has this one. Minus y cg quantity squared, plus the same thing for c bar, and that's divided by y cg times y c bar. What are these y's? Y here, yij, is kind of the same yij that was in the shade algorithm, although here it's actually expressed in terms of invariance, where it's normalized to the center of mass of invariance in the minus. So you might ask, what is the total cross-section for this 3-parton integration? It's the kind of thing you're used to asking. You've computed, let's say, the total cross-section for TC bar production, and now we've added a gluon. We want to ask, what's the total cross-section? Well, these particles are all massless. I'm taking the course to the massless here, so we know that we have to integrate over the Dulles triangle, which is given by the triangle where the sum of these two y's is less than 1. Anyone see what the answer is here? production of additional 1 as a process of order alpha s. So how did we get infinity out of this? It's actually infinity times alpha s, but still infinity. I should put in the alpha s. Well, where is this infinity coming from? You can see that, of course, there's actually 2 factorizing singularities near the region where both of these invariants. They're constrained to be greater than or equal to 0, but both of them can go down to 0. So we have a singularity in the region that both of them get close to 0, and that's the soft region for the Blanche. In addition, even if one of these is sort of migrating up to some finite value well away from 1, maybe even approaching the endpoint, doesn't really matter, then so there's another kind of singularity. There's still a singular behavior. There's a dy over y. If you integrate all the way down to 0, it just gives you infinity. So this region here means that, what does it mean? It's telling us that we have SAB, in this case the quark and the gluon momentum, going to 0. Of course, they're massless, so SAB is equal to 2Ka times KB. And when this goes to 0, you can convince yourself that that can happen only in one way, namely that Ka has to be proportional to KB. And when you have 2 massless particles, which is true, they're collinear. So what's happening physically when they're collinear is that the momenta are really right on top of each other, and you have no way of telling them apart. Even if you took the jet resolution arbitrarily small, it would always show up as a single object, single jet. Well, in the case of the soft singularity, well, we now have 2 invariants. We also have an FCC invariant, which is going to 0. And so long as we're in the regime where SAC is fixed, not going to 0, then the way that can happen is for KB to go to 0, for the energy, and correspondingly, of course, for the momentum of T to go to 0. In this case, it's the gluon that's common to both of these invariants, so it's the gluon that's going to 0. It becomes arbitrarily fast. And if you think about it, go back actually to what you learned about the soft photons and insert catastrophe in QED, then it's exactly the same thing. There's nothing new here. Yes, we can be more complicated to cover all this other stuff, but basically it's the same. That if you emit a photon and an arbitrarily soft photon, you can't tell its scale at any given detector. So part of your experimental information has to be what's the minimum energy that you can detect. So in other words, it doesn't actually make any sense to say that I should integrate over all gluons, because I can't actually identify these as 3 parton configurations. I can only identify them if I require that there be some minimum energy. I can do this in many different ways, but there has to be some minimum gluon energy. And in addition, I have to have some minimum angle between the quark and the gluon and between the antiquark and the gluon. Exactly what that minimum is, that's determined by your detector and your technology, etc. But there has to be something. Once there's that something, then that gives you a lower bound here. And that lower bound means that this is now replaced by alpha s times something. That's something you can calculate. Now, if that something, if these numbers, these bounds, gluon and quark are too small, well, I think you can certainly see just from this simple calculation that they're necessary. And in this simple setting, I think you can also see that they're sufficient because they are enough to tell me that each of these invariants is bounded away from 0. And that's where you have the logarithmic singularity that's actually producing infinity. It's not quite the end of the story, because if these numbers are too small, well, to do this thing, we can actually do this thing exactly, but there's no need to. Down when yg is very, very small, we know that each of these is going to produce a logarithm. Essentially a logarithm of y cut, which is the dimensional ratio. So in fact, when the gluon becomes very soft, the leading contribution here is alpha s times log squared of y cut. And if one cut is too small, this logarithm can become larger than can become large enough so that this number is now order 1. That number is of order 1, perturbative expansion is broken down. And it's exactly these kinds of logarithms that the parton showers attempt to resum. You actually know the structure of the small orders in perturbation theory, and so you can resum them even when y cut is small. But that exercise would take us very far afield from the fixed order calculations in which we're interested. So I'm not going to pursue that any further here. So we've already seen, so this is a kind of a toy situation in E plus minus, but we've actually already seen these parameters in the context of hadron collisions. In the hadron context, LHC, or for that matter, the tevatron, we have a jet to steam in, and the jet cone size, and also the separation between jets, which is the R parameter. So the R parameter is essentially a glorified angle, and the jet peaking in is acting like a minimum energy. So what does that mean? It means that if you impose these, of course, then the free part-time cross-section now becomes finite. But it also means that there's some remaining contributions that are left over. Those remaining contributions are precisely what we need to lump in inexorably order. Because suppose we can't just throw them away. Those configurations have to be assigned somewhere. We can't say, oh, well, we're just going to throw away the probability of this consequence. That's a surefire way to get into trouble with unitary. So what do we have to do with the integrals where the gluon is in fact less than some minimum, or the quark and the gluon are closer than whatever cut we decide to impose? Well, we know what's happening to those in terms of the jet algorithm. Those things are getting identified not as 3 objects or 3 jet events, they're getting identified as 2 jet events. And those contributions are, or in the context of hadron colliders, for example, those would be the contributions where you have 3 partons, but where one of the gluons is soft and falls below the jet peaking in, so it looks like a 2 jet event. So we have to add those together with the virtual corrections. Of course, these contributions are in fact infinite. And we already know that the loop integrals are infinite. That's of course no guarantee that when we sum them together we're going to get anything sensible or finite. But it turns out that there's a very general theorem in field theory called the Kinoshita Naumburg theorem. And the Kinoshita version is not directly relevant to QCD. It's really the one that really phrases the general theorem in field theory. Then we get a finite cross-section. So in other words, these divergences really do cancel between the real addition and the virtual corrections, and they give a meaningful finite answer. That's not exactly what we're doing. That would be exactly what we're doing in E plus E minus. So we need to have these resolutions, and we sum over all the states that are unresolved. We get a finite answer. That's not exactly what we're doing in the hadron collider context, because we're not summing over states with some resolutions in the initial state. We're not saying, let's take, instead of taking some gluons at XA, let's sum over some range of gluons that are maybe not 1 gluon coming in, but 2 gluons with some smeared energy coming in. We're not doing that. So here, in fact, if you add up all the virtual corrections and the real addition corrections, you actually still do have some infinite singularities left over. And what you need to do here is to observe that there are also corrections to the part-time distribution functions, to the SA of X, and that the process of computing their radiative corrections, just as in the case of the coupling, of course, there's an ultraviolet 1 over epsilon that you subtract when you define the coupling if you're doing this in dimensional regularization. Similarly, there's a contraction that essentially absorbs the remaining singularities, which are collinear singularities, absorb those remaining singularities into the definition of what's meant by the part-time distribution function. So in the same way that the physical coupling is defined as the infinitely short distance coupling with some infinity absorbed into it, then the physical PDFs are defined as some infinitely short distance object with the infinity absorbed into it. When you do that, then in fact you will get a finite answer. So the combination of KLT and what is referred to as factorization ensures, KLM, KLTN. Right you are. Yes, KLT would refer to Kawhi, Llewellyn, and Tai, which is also a very beautiful work, but not relevant to this particular question. So KLN and factorization ensures that we get finite answers in QCD if, and this is really where we have to be careful, if we measure or compute. We always, of course, get finite. We always get finite measurements. The experimenters are never going to produce an answer if we compute so-called infrared and collinear space observables. This is usually abbreviated to just infrared space, but infrared kind of can be referring to the FOSS alone, or can be referring to the FOSS and collinear together. And what's the basic idea of this requirement? Clearly, for example, if we were measuring the number of partons in the final state, well, that's not something that's going to be infrared space, because even if they become arbitrarily collinear or the gluon becomes arbitrarily soft, it's still going to count as a 2 instead of a 1. So that's an example of something that's clearly not infrared space. Infrared spacing means that as we go into these regions, which are the regions that we have to exclude from the 3-parton calculation because they were giving us an answer, those configurations have to be indistinguishable from the configurations that are really just QQ-bar configurations. So the observable cannot distinguish, it cannot measure an arbitrarily collinear or arbitrarily soft gluon or quark. In other words, if we have some observable, whatever you may like, key, jet counting, whatever, it has to satisfy the following constraint, that it has to reduce to an observable with n partons whenever we get a collinear configuration. Generally speaking, whenever any quark is collinear to a gluon, or quark is collinear to an antiquark, or antiquark is collinear to a gluon, the two gluons are collinear, or when any gluon becomes soft. That's the basic idea. Now, in some cases, this is it's not necessarily trivial, but it's straightforward to demonstrate that. So, for example, something that is safe is a jet cross-section evaluated using the anti-KT algorithm that we discussed earlier. If we imagine taking some inclusive lepton PT spectrum, so that's IRC space. And of course, many other examples. It's very easy to cook up long lists of them. Oh, and then there's clearly things that are clearly IRC unspaced. Would include things like looking at the charge multiplicity distribution. So just count up the charge tracks and look at their PT spectrum or just a number or something like that. Clearly there we can have a gluon splitting into a quark-antiquark pair. Those are charged tracks, and they're going to change this count. And that's going to be true even if they're arbitrarily collinear. Another example, which I hope is clear. So with the completely isolated photon cross-section, we don't really have time to discuss how it is you define photons in the collider, but basically you can imagine having a cone surrounding the photon just in the same way as you have for jets. And clearly if that cone is full of gluons and quarks, or in other words, in the experimental case it's full of hadrons, it's not really a photon. A photon wants to be something where there's some very hard photon and maybe a little bit of radiation around it, a few ions and stuff like that. And so you might think, well, why don't we just prevent anything from being in that cone around the photon? Well, that's infrared unsafe. It's infrared unsafe precisely because you're going to spoil this cancellation. You can't impose that in a virtual correction. If you impose that in a real emission correction, you're going to end up with an infinite cross-section. You're going to spoil the cancellation. So that's something frequently unsafe. There are also a lot of examples, and some of these are quite subtle. It took people many years to realize that. Some things that are more subtle, now that it's been understood, it's not so subtle. But some of that would be, for example, the vector boson PT distribution. We have a Z boson at PT equals 0. And another example are, in fact, the jet algorithms that were used by PDF and G0. This is known as jet clue, and this is the Z0 midpoint algorithm. Those turn out to have flaws in them that mean that starting at some number of jets varies a little bit depending on what else is in the event and what is going on. But this algorithm, for example, for 3-jet production turns out to be infrared unsafe. And it has to do with the details of the way that seeds are chosen.